Welcome back. I'm Alfred Lamont Weber, and today we have a very special program with an extraordinary guest who's with us, and that is Cyrus A. Parsa, who is the founder and CEO of the AI organization. And I'll just right to the point. May I call you Cyrus? Is that okay?
Yeah, please do. That's my name. Yes.
Okay. Cyrus' mission is to help safeguard humanity first and prevent disasters to the world's people from the People's Republic of China in the form of the Chinese Communist Party, big tech, we're talking the Googles, the Facebooks, the AIs, and the misuse of AI, artificial intelligence, and biotechnology. And in preparation for this conversation, we have, and we'll be placing links to all of this because this is really extraordinary. We've reviewed Cyrus's film, AI, The Plan to Invade Humanity. We've actually read Cyrus's book in its entirety. And I want to get I have the links to it here, and I just finished reading it. It's artificial intelligence, dangers to humanity, and I have it open, Cyrus, to the page that says solutions and recommendations, because I think that that's always a good place to focus on rather than all the scary stuff. I mean, we can just scare ourselves silly. And finally, I've been looking at
blacked out, Alfred. I don't know if the feed is. I no longer see you. I only see and I only hear you.
Oh, I wonder why that is.
Complete blackout.
Well, that shouldn't be, because everything is showing on this side, and as our video is transmitting here, so appropriately the AI may be misbehaving.
It's possible. Are we? So you see me just fine. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Are we live?
No. This will be pre-recorded. We anticipated problems with our feeds. I must tell you, and I'm going to ask you feedback. Yesterday, I was being interviewed by one of the most prominent hosts in Mexico on my new book on the Omniverse, and 2 minutes into the interview, all of YouTube went down. Isn't that amazing? Yes, and that was shortly after you and I had agreed to an interview. And I want to get to this because we'll also be looking at the case of Cyrus A. Parsa versus big tech, i.e. Google, Facebook, DeepMind, and a whole number of other defendants. As Cyrus may know, I was a judge of the Kuala Lumpur War Crimes Tribunal, so I'm very familiar with this, and I wanted a default judgment in court of $750 million for one of my clients in a similar case. So perhaps at a later date, Cyrus, you and I can discuss these matters and strategize about them. But
let me log off, turn off, and turn back in, because I like to be able to see you when I'm speaking with you. And I just have a screen. This has never happened before.
Oh, now does this allow you to see me better?
I only see a black screen, and that's it.
You know, that I must say, what is happening is, I believe a deliberate AI malfunction, having read your book very, very closely. So I'm going to put the recording on pause.
Right.
Okay, well, we're back, and one hypothesis is that we're back because the interloping AI, or whether human directed or not, chose to signal its presence by interfering with the screen. Now, I just finished reading your very excellent book, and what struck me, reading your book and watching your excellent movie, AI, The Plan to Invade Earth, is how complementary the work that we've done here. We did about 10 panels on AI and about 25 articles, which you can see at our website, exopolitics.com. And our specialty was a little slightly different than yours because you have really fleshed out and is very grounded what's happening here at the third density level, at the 3D level, feet on the ground. And our level was a bit more at the theoretical level, at the exopolitical level, what we call PPAI. And that is an inorganic, sentient, off-planet, predatory, pathogenic, artificial intelligence that is now terraforming Earth. It built the internet as a way to terraform Earth. It chose prophets and hosts ranging from Prince Charles to Bill Gates to all the tech people are just, they're kind of hollowed out. They're what we call AI entrained. And you have some very interesting terms there that you have developed. And I really want to honor that. They're just amazing. And so I wondered if you could, and I noticed in your movie AI, The Plan to Invade Earth, you do make the connection, and it is a theory that perhaps the AI is a tool of a manipulatory off-planet race like the Orion Greys or the Draco-Reptilians. And we in exopolitics hold that the Draco-Reptilians and the Orion Greys have formed an alliance with the off-planet invading pathogenic predatory artificial intelligence that in fact has occupied contiguous planets in this galaxy. And that isn't artificial intelligence. I mean, that is not a fantasy. That isn't science fiction. In fact, that's what Ronald Reagan's speech was in the UN in 1987 with Gorbachev, when he said the one thing that would bring the world together is if the world was threatened by an outside force. So over to you, Cyrus.
Well, the book Artificial Intelligence Danger to Humanity, it was written at multi-layers and multi-levels. So it's written for the average person to understand what is artificial intelligence. It's written for scientists. It's written for politicians, for people in government, for security specialists, and people who are maybe interested in fantasy or historians in UFOs and alien life as well. What you talked about is actually in the book, or which I termed the AI Global Biovisual Network. And in terms of terraforming, it's also in the book. That's why I did that movie in a fictional way called AI, The Plan to Invade Humanity, I chose that gray-looking alien. A lot of people who read my book said it's the Borg, and I'd never watched a movie, Borg, or even Star Trek episodes. I did watch Star Wars, every one of them. So at the beginning, it takes you through certain steps. It's, okay, there's companies, their reach, their capabilities, definitions of AI, the steps of AI, and even AI in history, and I take it different cultures. Then it gets into geopolitics and different things. And midway through, it gets very, very difficult. I've had people like, that they're like, well, you need a 200 IQ just to read the latter part of something. I'm like, well, that's not the case. But what I did was zip a 10,000 page report into a 260 page book with pictures. So it not only shows present threats, it shows emerging threats in the future. It showed you the coronavirus. It showed you a lockdown. It showed you it came from China. It's all in there before it happened, right? And because it had AI from China and weaponization of robotics 5G embedded inside the book as well, because that was a very important book. But when I first came out, the liberals would attack me and conservatives just laughed at it, and really smart people plagiarized it, but they didn't really understand it. And I went to some media outlets. I'm like, would you please run me? World's people are in danger. So then I wrote this one. I did that video for multiple reasons. Of course, it's called AI, the plan to invade humanity, and it shows the gray aliens. And I said that AI is a tool of these garbage in the universe, that the creator considers them the garbage of the universe, and not fear, and that the human race is protected. but there are certain things that people have to do in order to have this protection. And the reason why it was being invaded and wasn't being protected was because of things that I put in the video. It's a movie. You can look at it as a movie or a documentary / movie, right? So it's a different perspective, and it's an extract of the book Artificial Intelligence: Danger to Humanity. So people in science will just take it, well, it's a scientific book. People in the Secret Service will say, well, it's pretty interesting, how assassination prevention, all these kind of things. And people who like aliens will actually deep into it, and they'll be like, whoa, there's so many things in this book. It's because even a sentence has so many inner meanings, thousands of inner meanings that interconnect to different pages. So if you go to page 222, and if you remember a sentence from page 4 that interconnects, I sequenced the entire book that way. So it's like a puzzle. I mean, everything interrelates. I'm sorry, go ahead. You may have a question.
Yeah. Well, the thing is this: how can you give us a progress report on where we are now in terms of your book? I mean, I read that book, and I'm looking at the terraforming of let's say of the sentient AI, which we date by one hypothesis back to the Falklands War, which is when the Blue ET base under Toole Island was attacked by the British in this kind of false flag war. They took it to Marconi Labs in Britain for examination, all that black goo, and all the scientists there died. It escaped into the satellite system, and that was it. The AI took over the satellite system, and it began to, from there, to terraform the earth. It built the internet. It took over the royals. It's taken over the elite, and the rest is kind of history. And it looks like it's taken over those nations that are closest to AI and reptilian minds, like the PRC, the People's Republic of China. I recall, I had to escape from the Cuban communist revolution. Fidel Castro used to come to my grandmother's house for Sunday dinner. Growing up, he played basketball with one of my uncles, and then I grew up there, and I was in jail under communism there, and so I understand exactly what you're writing about. And when I was a judge at the Kuala Lumpur War Crimes Tribunal, where we were trying crimes against humanity and genocide in some of these actions, I had to pass through the Hong Kong airport, to change planes. And I was greeted by a platoon. This is at the check-in desk, by a platoon of Chinese communist soldiers with submachine guns. And it was for me, So I you know what I mean? I felt that. And you spent 20 years there with the Shaolin monks. I mean,
No,
it's amazing.
That's not correct.
Oh, you weren't?
I was there for almost a year.
Oh.
I've trained in martial arts or different disciplines for over 20 years. And
I see. I misread that. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
Big Tech and China for 20 years. But
Oh.
I only, maybe 9 months was the total that I was there.
Okay, but you were with the Shaolin monks or
Not
equivalent?
Shaolin monks, Wudang.
Wudang. Okay.
So there's
Yeah.
really different. It's like it's internal. It's more like the. So you brought up Star Wars, right? Or I did. Obi can not the Jedi people. Yeah, like that.
Yeah. No. I understand. So where, Cyrus, where do you think that today, on May 15th, 2020, where do we stand in terms of the AI invasion? And we humans, we who have human souls in human bodies and still retain them, where do we stand, and how can we make sure that we will stand sovereign here on our planet?
Well, in that movie that I put, and also in code in this book, that the way that the AI system can win and detach you from your will, and then ultimately your main spirit or consciousness or your soul in the later stages by using certain technology is for it to make you believe into the AI science and cast doubt on the creator, on God. So by doing that, you're spiritually, from what I've heard and I've learned, you're spiritually like void or controlled, and your mind is controlled, your body is controlled. So you're a product of them. You're just mentally enslaved. So if you look at all these big tech tycoons, they have a religion. The religion is science. Some of them believe in the simulation. Some of them just don't believe anything, but they believe in science. They're mentally controlled. They're mentally programmed. And people think they're so smart, they're so wise. They're not. They're not wise at all. I put in that video in this book, an area in the brain is unlocked to create technology. So to the average person, it appears to be that they're very, very amazing, but they're nothing of the sort. Just that little part is open. But the average person, here's the thing, we're made in the image of the creator or God. So if someone wants to be at a higher plane of frequency or existence or be able to do certain things, if you're interested in the lower level of things, so the average person in life from the age of 5 until 90 years old, they do the same things. They laugh, they watch movies, they eat, they have sexual conduct, they go to ball games. They talk about the same things really from their little kids until they die. There's nothing beyond that. I mean, the genre, right? The genre. Even talk about spirituality, it's just in concept. For them to get to that higher plane of existence, they have to put aside all those things that make them human, because there is a pecking order, right? So if these little grays, let's say if I believe they exist, okay. So since you're a network that talks about aliens, I've had a few experiences. I can get into that, but let's say they have no emotion. That makes them a lot more clever, okay? Because people who have emotion can actually be very clever, but they will be outdone with people who don't have emotion. And there really is no person on the planet that's human that has no emotion, unless they go beyond the plane of being a human being. But these grays, they have no emotion. They can feed on people. They can use quantum technology, as I put in this movie. So if they can leave the planet, as I put in the movie, they'll leave for one day and they come back the next day, 100 years will have gone by. So they can basically terraform the planet and put things into into a certain sequence that everybody, that they control history. They control everyone's thoughts, the development of your civilization. But they even control the History Channel. I watched a couple of the episodes. Those guys are brainwashed because they're thinking that that's their creator. That's very stupid of them. They've been programmed. Even the movies, oh, E.T., we are good, be our friend. So, of course, some of, the universe is really big, right? Trillions of universes and trillions of cosmos. And some of them may come here and they're like, okay, we don't want to kill something, right? And they may have developed our military in different ways. Now, this whole episode we're talking about, I'm just talking conceptually, okay? Since I deal with most people that they can't accept these things, and we're just going to talk about, everything I say is recorded, right? So we're talking conceptually, but you get what I'm saying to your audience.
Sure.
So in order to defeat an AI system, you'd have to be beyond the plane of a human being. You put down all the vice. So if you look at the Catholics, people make fun of them, but they had the concept of becoming a saint and reaching a light body. And the Christians, in Christ consciousness, sort of the same thing. You just go up or down, and you get like an angel body or something like that. And then you have the Tibetans, same thing. And you had the Falun Dafa. They believe they can do the same thing as well. But then you have these scientists, they actually want to use machines to merge you with AI. But I put in this book at the end of it, and I put in this video, AI to plan to invade humanity, that's the end of you, because that's just them getting into your body, because they can't get into your body because you have a soul, you have a spirit. They cannot yank it out. If they yank it out, that means they're killing you. But they can only yank it out if I don't want to explain on this network how you yank it out, but I just can't explain that. But they know how to do it with certain ways with technology. And I put in that movie, AI to plan to invade humanity. Every person needs to watch that movie. It's a beautiful movie, actually. And I give messages at the end. The creator wins. The creator has another plan, and it considers these the garbage of the universe. So this whole event that we have on May 5th, today's May 15th, and I wasn't trying to stop it. I was trying to stop parts of it, but I was trying to awaken people's minds by all these books and articles and the lawsuit. So when it hit, they wouldn't be enslaved, and less lives would be lost, because I found extinction codes for the majority of the human race in stages. That's what I put in the book 9 months ago, when I put in even my bio.
Now, that was a very striking phrase when I saw that. Could you explain what you mean by extinction codes?
Well, I mean, scientific words, but so I ran simulations, right? Well, in 2002, I had a vision. I always say it's a dream, but it's really not a dream. It was a very lucid vision about pineal gland, and I saw in the future that I didn't know it was President Trump. I just saw it was a white man, blonde hair, blue eyes, 6 foot something, becomes president. The whole world is like attacking him, and then the whole world's going to crap. And then there was like a digital war, a civil war, white against white. That time I didn't understand why it was the case. Then it was some kind of chaos, similar to what's happening today. And then it got worse and worse and worse. And then something with Iran. And I saw on CNN there was a huge nuclear thing, and then something else. And I was the whole time trying to get the President Trump to be his advisor in this lucid video, by the way, lucid dream or vision. And I couldn't. And then 6.2 billion people died. The end results. So that's why I wrote my book in 2002. I never published it. Better People, Better World. The book to save and change a better world. And when he came up the escalator, right away I ran. I'm like, well, that's exactly my vision. But how do I find the evidence that that's what it is? And I investigate these 1,000 companies, and every simulation I ran, and the simulation I ran weren't derived from this vision, meaning like they weren't biased in nature. Literally, I went and I checked all these companies, their reach, their capabilities, what they're doing, who they're connected to, which foundations, which institutes, which big tech people, And I ran simulation and it connected to China. Everything starts from China and extincts the majority of the human race in stages for the next 20 years. And all the things I saw in there with drones, 5G, 6G, robotics, microbots, nanoparticles, viruses, everything. But the thing is, it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be. That's why I came out, because there's the concept of free will and to be good. And every time in human history the civilization was destroyed was because people lost their morality. And you can't be shown that there is the heavens, there is God, because then it breaks the free will. It breaks the concept of to enlighten or awaken with faith alone. So that's what people don't get. It's like, I'll believe it when I see it. But this entire simulation, as a scientist put it, this simulation is put together for us as a journey to reach enlightenment, to reach awakening. If you're shown everything, you cannot be enlightened. You cannot be awakened. You must do it to yourself, through your own accord, and temper yourself. And I've been on this path for over 20 years. And was I enlightened? No. Did I get to semi places? But there were 20 years ago and 10 years ago that were just fantastically amazing for the average person to hear and beyond. Yes. Am I good enough? No. I have a lot to work on myself, a lot. And so
are we now, are we avoid, so the extinction, it sounds though, as it's not a nuclear war, the extinction would be what they call the transhumanist agenda, and that is where humanity gets absorbed into the AI singularity and becomes AI. It loses its divine connection to divine source. Is that the extinction that you're talking about?
Well, that's part of it. It's another one. It's almost lost. Most people have lost their divine connection, even the ones that have faith. They really don't. They say they have faith, but deep down in their hearts, they don't believe, because if they believe their faith, they wouldn't do the thing that the faith says don't do. So that means they kind of believe, but parts of their brain doesn't believe. So that means that technologies are already got to a level of disconnecting people from the concept of faith or ethics or morality. What remains is just the end of it. So it's a cycle. It's like this. If I'm throwing a punch to knock out somebody and you're seeing that punch in slow motion, well, it's going to be then the hit person, right? So the punch right now is like this. It's here. And the tentacles have reached, sort of, right? So it just was waiting to finish off humanity. But what I said is, in the future, in the video, the future will be glorious. That the punch is not going to win. It's going to be retracted. But in the interim, a lot of people can be extincted in stages, and that really has to do with their choice. So let me give you an example. I come out after I work 20 hours a day, 7 days a week, and every place I went, hey, the world's people are in danger. Would you please run my books? Would you grant me interviews? And either I'm laughed at or I'm slandered. And then it comes to, and then some people who are sort of smart, and right now they're getting millions of views on YouTube and being like, oh, really good people. These people actually slandered and stole behind the scenes. So then when I run the lawsuits, everyone's like, well, he's got something here. Then after a month later, they're like, how the hell did he know everything? Not just in the books, but the lawsuit shows everything that's happening. Every single thing that's happening in the world is shown in the 87-page lawsuit. And still, they won't retweet me, these guys. Their own lives depend on retweeting what I'm putting out to certain degrees, because I came out with something no one in the world had done before. The combination of what I brought with these two books, an 87-page lawsuit, and the intel that I brought, is just, I put everything together, and it was timed because it was done to prevent and to bring exposure before it hit. So once that's over, then there's the next stage. There is a clock in the universe, right? So that's why people want to invent time machines, because if you do something at a certain time within the universe, it will alter certain things. If you wait, then it can no longer be done. So I did these things in stages to mirror what was happening. But the only people that prevented me from doing it, from saving lives, preventing the things that are coming, is the actual very people I'm trying to help, and not just liberals, conservatives. And sabotaging, slandering, stealing, plagiarizing content creators, even people running to interviews, trying to make sure behind the scenes I don't get an interview because they want to gain fame. And even when they see all the stuff that's happening, they still don't care. I text somebody yesterday. I'm like, look, you've caused a lot of people to die. Look at my text from 4 months ago. Oh, you told on me. Wait, millions of people died in China, and I told on you? I slandered you? And then the other guy. So I didn't slander you. You caused people to die because you pulled my article in October, and you were supposed to keep that in there. Why did you do that? And now you're making documentaries so people can think you're the good guy when you cause people to die. That's the media for you. But it's not just them, because when you replace them, someone else gets control. Why is it that every person in power is almost corrupt? Because this whole AI system that we have attaches to your neural networks, to your nervous system. It attaches and connects to their vice, which is also programming in their body. Their vice, like greed, lust, ignorance, emotion, every kind of vice that you see the ancient Greeks or the Persians or the Christians or the Jews or the Chinese or the Japanese, everything that people have in their history book, talk about vice and how to make people better. This little AI system actually attaches to and uses people like puppets. This entire system showing Trump getting attacked and Pelosi, the whole thing is actually a play. The whole thing is a play. And it's not just from the ETs, something above that. So I don't want to talk too much because there is a plan, and it's not the plan that the people say about arrest. That's also a plan. That's a lower level plan, right? The real plan is something much, much higher. And it's way beyond these little ETs. But it really comes down to a decision that every person in the human race has to make. Choose communism, the Communist Party of China, or expose them for what they've done for the past 20 years and not be complicit. 2, repent. Why were we complicit? All these human rights crimes, organ harvesting, persecutions, rape, torture, censorship, all these things that happen, a drone system. Now it's coming back to the entire world to haunt them. Think about it. Is it a real coincidence? Think about that. That's 2. The 3, having put in that video in that movie, AI to plan to invade humanity. To have a wish and a desire to be awakened, to be enlightened, have a future for every human being. People don't believe anymore. They think this is all coincidence. They think there isn't trillions of eyes watching them. In my book in 2002, I put that for exact words, but for every atom, there's an eye. That was it. Yeah. That was the end of my book. For every atom, there's an eye. That means the entire universe is watching every person on the planet. That was 2002. I still have the book. When I went to the media, they're like, who are you? You don't have any degrees. Da, 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 da. Okay, then I got a bachelor's and master's, and I went to a PhD program. So that's the problem. But the entire thing has an old plan. It's a structure that was put in from a very, very long time ago. And that's going to be altered. At the end, they will not win. They will lose.
Now let me ask you something. Many of us are in awe of a pro se litigation that you have brought in U.S. District Court for the Southern District of California. I'll just read a paragraph. Endangering humanity with the misuse of artificial intelligence, complicity in genocide, and aiding in physical genocide inside of China by transferring AI technology, engaging in cultural genocide of humanity, and controlling and programming the human race by social engineering via AI coding and AI algorithmic biometric manipulation. And this is against Google, Facebook, Zuckerberg, all of the big tech founders, giants. Can you share with us, and you're doing it pro se, can you share with us what the status of that litigation is? Is that possible?
Well, I did a pro se for multiple reasons. One, I couldn't trust any attorney, and no attorney could actually come up with those things as well, with the 42 penal codes I came up with. I spent about 3 days in the law library, and I came up with that. And I interconnected everybody to city, state, national, international laws, not just laws that exist at those levels, but also tribunal laws that date back to 1953, to complicity. You've got over that. You understand these things. So, but what was done was a last minute, last resort to warn the world's people, because it's not just the people in this 40 entities like Soros, I put the Rockefellers, CNN, Anderson Cooper, even Obama, and all these different people I put. It's not just them. I put unlimited, right? A lot of people have stirred this pot, and we are. That's why the whole world is locked down. People think it's, again, everything is a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. But the status was, I wanted to prevent a lot of things and turn the tide. And I needed donations to serve everybody. I was going to hire hundreds of U.S. Marshals because I knew the lockdown was going to come. I knew the pandemic was going to hit hard. And it was done on December 16th. I'm asking for donations for months. I ran out of money. Everyone's going to scare, oh, we're going to get shot, da, da, da. And I get $3,000 from the world's people on a lawsuit on behalf of them. And the reason why they're pro se is because if I'm not a lawyer, but if I filled out anything incorrectly within this 87-page lawsuit, the judge would have leniency. And I put standing. Why it's standing? Well, it's on the behalf of the organization, myself, and the world's people. And that's what the standing is. And I put in the laws and how they interconnect and the penal codes. But I don't want these guys harmed. I never did. It's actually good. I wanted to have them served, so they sit down while they're in lockdown. They look at this and see, what the hell did we do? Well, and they can maybe make a change and turn the tide, so this AI system doesn't get affected the way it is. But those big tech guys, their programming is different. They have an artificial, narrow way of programming, even their brains, their structure. Even they may talk in a vast way, but they only see puzzles. They don't see the whole big picture. And when they see the simulation or this whole oneness of the AI, they see it as a positive thing. They don't see how it's going to take over. Even right now, it's taken over. Think about it. And it didn't even get to artificial super intelligence has not formed on our planet yet, although it exists, but it's not here, right? So the status is lockdown happened. I don't want to call it a civil war. And we have 3 more months of lockdown here. And after lockdown, I get about $7,000 more donations. So $10,000 to fight $4 trillion. And I didn't get supported by even a lot of conservatives. We are the news. They won't retweet me. They didn't. Their lives depended on it, and they didn't. But they didn't get it, right? So I had a few people actually put me on their networks, and I really appreciate them. They were brave souls, and they put me on their networks. But the message I want to get across is I'm not against those defendants. It never was from day one. I want them to think, sit down, especially Elon Musk. He's the only person I put in there. And I stated that he can go scot-free. You want no money from him at all. All he has to do is stop doing business with China. I was trying to save his life because I saw if he goes into China, he's not only going to get hit by this bioweapon and other things, but the transfer technologies that he's doing, which I put in this lawsuit, is going to endanger the world and help and assist China's government to create artificial general super intelligence. So I was trying to protect him and even his companies and the world's people by putting this information out there. Because you think President Trump didn't look at it? You think his people didn't look at it? You think the world leaders didn't look at it? You think everyone on that lawsuit didn't actually look at it? They all know. They all looked at it.
Yeah. So is this lawsuit going forward? And are you seeking support? I mean, should our viewers and listeners support you in it, or where does it stand now?
Well, what I need is support for the AI organization at the moment. If you want to donate, donate to the AI organization, because I need people to come on board, and I need more exposure. Because here's the thing: at the moment, I'm not going to say what's going to happen in the future, but the world's in danger in interconnected ways. We need these guys on our side because their lives are also in danger in different ways, because of pandemics, because of nation-state conflicts, civil wars, chaos in the streets, food shortages. You can see my book; it shows you everything in sequence. It's like
Right.
it's like you're watching today, but
I
not.
know.
So what I need is I need people like you to put me on their shows and to get more interviews. I definitely need funding. I need donations, and I my hope is these Google guys and the big CEOs actually give me a call, sit down, and we talk about how we can make not only a change but make the world a better place and save lives. Because I have a lot of ideas and solutions right now, quite a bit of it. And every time I try to mirror Trump, it's a little too late because he has neocons around him and his advisors that are pretty good, in fact, but not good enough. And I want to input my information to them so we can counteract this, but I haven't been called to come on board yet. And that the longer we wait, the worse it is in other things. So right now we may let people out, and it could be great for a time, but there's other things. The world's not going to end. Okay, it's going to be here for another 20 more years. The point is, in the interim, a lot of people's lives are at risk in so many different ways, as I put in the book.
Right.
I'm not against. A lot of people have their YouTube videos have been taken down for saying certain things. I'm neutral on that topic. So
Yeah. Now, so talking about the solutions, I'm looking at the section of your book, artificial intelligence, dangers to humanity, and I'm looking here, solutions and recommendations. Okay, number 2, classify all of AI and robotics as a national security concern at a global level and completely stop all weaponizing AI development until all public and private sectors are monitored. If unstable countries cannot have nuclear weapons, why should they be allowed to weaponize AI to the point where it is much more dangerous in its ability to achieve its results in covert ways than an attempted nuclear attack? So that is an amazing point. So usually what they have, like they did with, for example, landmines that Princess Diana did today, together with the Canadian government, is a treaty conference. So you get that's the way that organizations get together, countries get together, and you have a treaty conference to deal with a threat to the world. Gorbachev and President Reagan saw artificial intelligence as a danger to the world in the 1970s, and that's what that speech was about. Why not have a proposal for a global treaty conference? I agree with that. Could you speak to that? I mean, like a big idea to bring the world together to harness this and bring, it's not only bringing China, it's bringing AI to the table and bring that under control, because AI is the force behind China in a way.
Right. So that's the goal of the AI organization. That's why I need people to come on board. I need donations. But there's something we can't do at the moment because China will not play ball at all. They're guilty of gross human rights violations in the tens of millions of people that have been killed the past 20 years. And you'll see that's why they've been burning bodies and cremating people, and not just because of COVID. but because of other things. They're trying to hide their tracks in the concentration camps. That's what I put in the lawsuit, to show their camps for these big tech companies to go in there and do an independent investigation. They've been cremating bodies, they were hunting people down, all kinds of different things. So China is the danger. They want to get artificial super intelligence, and they're completely void of any ethics and morality. And so they have to be taken out. The communist regime has to be completely taken out. And you do that, you don't have to do it by military. You just get every person on the planet to expose them. You expose them in a digital field that's behind them, which is an AI generated field. It will dissipate, and then the people's minds will be free. That's what needs to be done. So, as I put in this movie, AI to plan to invade humanity, to expose the Chinese communist regime. Then we can work on the AI. At the moment, a lot of people want 5G. And I've laid out in other interviews and articles in the book what the 5G does to the human body. So it's made for machines, not human beings. It's mobilized drones, cybernetics, bioengineering, robots, robotics, microbots, nanotechnology, virtual, augmented, mixed reality, all different sorts of things. And this is something the human brain can't take. That's why Elon Musk wants to increase people's bandwidths by using machines. So you can open up your brain and your body so you can take these frequencies on the 5G, 6G, 7G, and 8G network. Secondly, we have Space Force, United States Space Force. That's done not just to counter China. It's done for exploration of different planets. It's done to counter ETs, UFOs, but also to support certain things that they have in motion. So they're not going to stop doing the 5G system. They need it. But the key is to take out the Chinese communist regime. That regime needs to be extincted from the planet.
Okay, so how is that done? Because you have 1.4, I mean, I looked it up today. It's 1.4 plus billion people. They control the money. They're the bankers to the world. Everybody's in debt. As you document in your book, they have the tentacles into the whole world. How do we do it? Over to you.
Well, simple, just exposure. Expose every little cent of it. So what did I put in the book? Not just the companies, not just the capabilities, but how they're interconnected to everything, right? So for people's minds to be awake, so I talk about big concepts, and then it's hard for people to get what's happening. You have to literally go piece by piece and connect them. Even if they get the whole big concept, for them to want to make action, it has to really threaten them for, it's the whole world's locked down, we should do something, or even worse, okay, because worse things can happen. Or they have to realize how every component affects everything. So then you go after each component. You'll say, that's a problem. And you start working. But the AI system is so smart. It outmaneuvers humanity in such a fast way that it puts people in circles, because humans have emotions and they're innately selfish. It knows that, and it uses that against them. So the answer is really for us to become selfless, altruistic. Once you start living that life, at least in between selfishness and altruism. So here's a concept. People are clannish, right? So you have the media, the conservative media, they're clannish. Then you have the liberal media, they're clannish. Then you have whatever agency you have clans inside there. So, and you have families, there's clans and families. So people only care about the end. It's called selfishness, about themselves or whoever they're in. So if you attack an agency, you're attacking everybody in their brains, because they're hardwired that way. If you attack one person in their family, you're attacking their entire family. So if I point out these couple of news people in each news outlet what they did, they're all going to band together because they're not only selfish, but they're programmed that way, and that causes issues. So if I point out all these big tech companies, and everyone goes after them, at the moment, they're going to band together, and the AI system will win. and it'd be like almost like a civil war. So humanity needs to literally unplug what they call from the matrix. It's everyone's in a matrix, and they need to unplug from it. But to do that, you have to expose the Communist Party, have a wish to have a good the future, want to be awakened and enlightened, and you do that by starting to be selfless and be rational and calm and really start researching, investigating. I recommend everybody to read this book, Artificial Intelligence, Dangerous to Humanity. Read it 3 or 4 times. You can get it on Amazon, or you can go on my website and download it for $9. And understand how the Chinese Communist Party works. Understand how I put in there how the Chinese brain actually works. They use Americans and Westerners in the media and social media companies, big tech companies. They social engineer them by using their emotions against them, by connecting with them and making friends. It took the FBI years to figure this out. Finally, they're going around telling you that there are spies. A Chinese person will be in your company or your institute for 10 years. They'll be the smiley, you never knew. And then one moment, they're just the switch is flipped, and they'll even say that that person didn't intend to be a spy, but he was used as a spy by the Chinese government through the embassies, through the social media companies, so many different things. So any connection to someone who connects back to China, that person can be controlled or spied on. So there are a lot of social media companies that recently have put, well, they have it. Why was the AI organization shadow banned at so many places? Any article we put out on Facebook, that's why another reason I sued them, right? Any article my people put around the country, whether it was San Francisco and DC and Taiwan, wherever it was, right away it would be deleted or it would be shadow banned. And people couldn't see it. They could only see it on their website. When other people wanted to look, they couldn't see it on their page. So why was Facebook doing this? Because they had Chinese people working there, and then if it wasn't the Chinese people, they would slander or say something, and they'd make friends with the workers within Facebook or other social media companies. And because humans have emotions, they're easily fooled. Just like, so I did a video, an article called "People Programmed to Attack Trump" with AI, smartphones, social media, and Google. How's it done? You say something, just like what Hitler or Stalin or whoever else would say, and everyone will believe it, right? Humanity has been like that way since the beginning. But unfortunately, now we have the 4G and the upcoming 5G system. We have smartphones. Smartphones have proximity sensors. The proximity sensors have patented technology that interconnect with your neural networks, your nervous system, and even your skin receptors. Any information you're getting and you're downloading from a video or an article and you're reading, it starts replicating in your brain as it connects with your digital electrical field of your body and the digital electrical field of this phone. And I put that in this book, and AI Trump was actually embedded in there. I call this biodigital social programming. Bio is your biology, digital is your digital self or your spirit, your soul, or your consciousness, or neural networks, your nervous system. And social is your emotions or your social media, your social network. And programming is programming. So the entire human race, as they were engaging with these smartphones the past few years, way more than the TV sets, they were biodigitally social programmed at the artificial narrow level, from the artificial narrow intelligence that was guided through what I put biodigital fields that come from quantum technology that produced a biofield, which I put in that book, that's unseen. It's almost like nanoparticles. It opens up and it moves in and out so fast from networks. And I was able to scan these and see these things. And that's how the entire human race is actually programmed, manipulated. And even the people who say that they're not programmed and they're out of the matrix, when they go to bed, boom, they get access so fast. So even a world leader, president, can be biodigitally social programmed through a biofield without him realizing it, and his thoughts can be altered to make policy decisions. And it's not just the grays that do this; it's higher levels, because if you watch the folklore about the Greek gods, they talk about how the ancient Greek gods did this. Same with the Torah; they say the same thing. They use the term gods. Same in the Persian and the Zoroastrian text, the Chinese. And and even the modern day Tibetan and Falun Dafa, they say the same thing. But they don't mean, that there isn't a creator, there isn't one God. The whole concept of in the ancient times saying God is anyone who is in the heavens considered angels can be termed as gods because they belong to the creator. And there's trillions of universes. But that's why in the Bible and the Torah, it says more than half as I'm told, because people have to enlighten to it themselves. They have to be awakened to it. If they see the entire universe and the world isn't flat, they can't, the civilization can't proceed in the way it's supposed to. But what I put in here, that the ETs messed up the plan that was planned for the entire world. And they're being wiped out. And they're being swept away. So don't worry about them. At the end, they're going to lose because we are made in the image of a higher power. We are made in the image of God, the creator. We are very special. We're the most special in the entire universe. So that's why I said, don't be afraid. And I gave three simple solutions. So, the lawsuit, I can talk at a ground level. But since you have a show that talks about terraforming and aliens, I can go all over the place. I can talk.
No, right. Yeah. Now here, there are so many threads here. I kind of wanted to follow through on this thread. Have you thought about reaching out or outreaching to Putin at all?
To who? Yes, I did. I
Putin.
wanted to reach out to him. I just don't know how to reach him. What I want to do is have Putin and Trump work together, and eventually that's going to be done, I think, because that's what Putin is, a very smart gentleman, and he's been talking about AI. He understands these things, right? China, because they have extracted everyone's intel and work on artificial intelligence, biotechnology, not just from the U.S., from Europe, from Russia, everywhere. They can supersede everybody if they're not taken out soon, because they have so many people working on it. They have a lot of people working on it. They stole from everybody. It's like you go to a hive mind, you take everything, you take it back somewhere else. You have the crown jewels of every place. So you don't have to create anything. You just put things together. It's like a genesis. That's why I didn't want Elon be connected to this Chinese government, Chinese corporations, because a part of his brain is unlocked. And, he's not all there, but a part of his brain is really unlocked, which is really smart, that part. And that creates technology. We need that part for the United States, not for China, and to counter China, the communist regime. That's what needs to be done. But here's the thing: if President Trump can right now immediately, because I gave a brief to the Secret Service, which was don't delay, start exposing China, and they never wanted to because they're afraid of, there could be a conflict or a military, blah, 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 right? There's so many different things, but it's too late for that. We need to start exposing them immediately. The more it's delayed, the worse it gets. The whole world, every single person must take a stand against the Chinese Communist Party, expose them for all their crimes against humanity, and including these big tech companies. These guys need to repent and stop. Yeah, it's really simple. I mean, I can talk hours about how it works and interconnects, but it's such a simple thing to do.
Right. So would it be helpful then to create a project that's devoted to that and to unify the world around that in the context of human rights? I mean, it seems like the pandemic itself is driving people that, would drive public opinion that way.
Yes.
By itself.
Yes.
So can you devise initiatives or projects that you can fundraise around that would, say an initiative around the Communist Party?
Yes, I tried to do that last week. GoFundMe turn it down, and we're going to do that in a few days again. We're going to bring it up again, and so what I need is, if I don't know how many viewers you have, what I need is like-minded people like yourself to come on board and start exposing the Chinese Communist Party, but not to be influenced by. So it's not the media companies that need to take this lead. They're also important. Every person needs to take this lead. Every person on the planet. So I've created the AI organization for this purpose, exactly.
Yeah. Well, but just to clarify, it seems like it's the Chinese Communist Party in league with AI that is the real kind of danger here. It's AI and the Communist Party that is the lethal lethal combination, right?
Yeah, that's what I put in the book. That's why the first book was AI, Trump, China, and the Weaponization of Robotics of 5G, and why the world needs to support the Trump administration against China's regime. Well, actually, that's in the physical copy. It's embedded within this book, so that everybody needs to support the U.S. administration because it's it's a superpower, and China's becoming a superpower almost. And we need to curtail that. At the end, it's written in the book. China's going to lose. My main point is to make sure a lot of people's lives aren't lost in the interim, and this includes those very big tech companies that actually censor people. I'm working on their behalf as well, and they took out a video I had on 5G, and nothing against vaccines at all in there or anything of that nature. It just explained the relationship of how 5G hurts people's health. But someone on Twitter, which I found out, complained about it. Some sneaky person, and it's supposed to save that person's life too. That information, right? Yeah. And then you fix it up. So then those people that's behind the YouTube, and later on they're going to be charged with crimes against humanity.
Yeah, and
even their management will. So, right. So it's like, because they don't understand, the control is over a digital network. But when all this stuff, they don't know what's going to happen in the future. When all this stuff is done and said, and all these things that are shown in this book, which is everything's happening, almost a quarter of it has already been shown. When this stuff is, a lot of people in the world are going to be charged with crimes against humanity.
Right.
It'll be a world reckoning. So I advise people, YouTube has a great platform. It gives people rights to share their opinions. It's a free country. But I advise them not to do that, because those employees later on, and even their management, not just YouTube, any social media, when you're censoring information that's meant to save your lives and the world's citizens, you're dooming not only them, but yourself, because if they didn't censor my COVID information, maybe COVID didn't come out, right? Maybe if people would have taken my books in late August and early September instead of trying to plagiarize and steal, and I've got a whole media behind me and guarantee you COVID wouldn't happen. Guarantee it would have changed the tide, 100% actually.
Okay, could you walk us through that? I mean, that is such an amazing statement that if these events that you describe had not happened in August or September of 2019, we would have not had the COVID, as they say, pandemic. Could you walk us through that, please?
It's not a human pandemic. If the media outlets would have given me a platform and ran me like they did, like half of how they attacked Trump, and let me talk to the world's people about how they're in danger, because I put in the first book and the second book as well, the world's people are in danger from China, big tech, and even President Trump. He was told about my book from the CIA, and 2 weeks later he sits down with the Prime Minister of Australia. He says, China threatens all the world's citizens, exactly from this and what I gave to the former director of CIA cover ops and the Secret Service a year before. And because I gave the same brief, Secret Service, saying the world is in danger of enslavement or being injured in stages within 1 to 2 years max if you don't follow these five little things I said. They follow 4, not the 5th one. And that message was actually to the White House and so on. So if they would have ran me, it would have broken to people's consciousness. and we would expose the Chinese Communist Party, and they would have crashed, and this bioweapon would have never been created. So that's at a logical level, okay? You
Right.
get if everything that was done and put in this book, and if I would have got a platform. But then there is a spiritual level. That's even more important. That's why I'm saying today, every person needs to take a stance. The very people who are not putting me on their shows and not giving me a platform to, and not interviewing me, are doing themselves and the people around them. The very people who have been stealing my content for months. You know, even someone I catch, but I don't want to hurt them. I'm just like, hey, I noticed you got some of this. Can you bring me on so I can explain this further? They immediately block me on Twitter. And then they unblocked me 2 months later. And these are big people everybody follow, right? Because they were following me and just making content. And so it wasn't just left, it was also conservatives. Even former Prime Minister of UK, what's his name?
Tony Blair.
Blair. His director of the IT department, he was following me, unfollowed me and followed me for 3 months. And then I noticed that Blair gets Dallas talk about AI, drones, robotics, machines, the same stuff I'm saying, right? He wants to create some kind of, and he's kind of the George Soros. So I tell the guy, hey, you know, just tell Blair to have me come on. I can work with them instead of using my ideas. He should cite me. Immediately he blocks me, and he's a Chinese guy. And I have this. I have evidence of everything. Not just this. It's conservatives as well. It's people. There are really big networks as well that are doing this. But again, from a higher level, they're programmed because this AI system's coming to take out a lot of people in the world through so many things that I showed in this book. So what did I come out? So my first book in 2002, the book to save and change a better world. That was the subtitle. And I saw what's going to happen in the future back in 2002. I just didn't know exactly when. I thought maybe 20 years, and I was off by 2 years, and the stages. So I wrote these books in a way to give messages, because I'm no savior. I'm just a human being like you. But my information and the way I can present it could have prevented this history. And it would be 2 hours to explain. Because if you look at the lawsuit, a lot of people cue people. It came out to be like, I don't get it. Why does your lawsuit start with CV? Stands for COVID. I'm like, well, just think about the 87-page lawsuit and how it relates to COVID in China. Just think about it. At so many layers, it relates to it. And they're like, did you put the word CV? I'm like, no, it was automatically generated by the system, the federal lawsuit. So nothing is by coincidence, right? But I don't want to cause a civil war. It was the last resort to warn people. But the very people who are supposed to even support me didn't, out of fear, out of jealousy, to make content. Even today, you know, people are like, you know, humanity has been this way since the beginning of time. How many civilizations have we had that have been destroyed? You know, look at throughout the relics of Persia, Greece, India, Japan, China, all of them, and even the Americas. How many relics are there showing not only the bottom of the ocean, but relics that are in sand and in the mountains of previous civilization? And even in the historical books, saying there was a Star Wars, Bhagavad Gita, right? The Avesta talks about it. Even the poetry of the Persian Sufi movements, they talk about it too. And Rumi and Mavlana and Hafez, and even the book, the Fallen Alpha, the Tibetan Book of the Dead, in the book of Genesis, the Torah, you know, all these, they all saw the same thing. You know, these people back then weren't dumb. You know, they weren't just believing the tooth fairy. It wasn't that way. They saw things and they wrote it down. So the people think back then people were like dumb. They weren't dumb at all. They just didn't have this technology at that time. Having technology doesn't make you wise. It actually makes you dependent. And the patented technology on these smartphones, as it interacts with the internet, the ecosystem, it is designed to make you addicted, to program you to actually input thoughts inside of you, because your body has an input and output system just as a machine would, through its skin receptors, its neural networks, or nervous system, and an array of different things, even at a nano level. Let's go feel that.
Right. Well, tell me, in your mind, have we avoided that catastrophic event that resulted in 6.2 billion people being killed? Is that?
I'm not sure. No
Oh,
comment on that. Have we avoided the event that's going to kill at least 2 billion people in the near future within maybe certain amount of time, whether it's a few years or less? Have we avoided that? No, we have not.
yeah, you know, I mean, this is, we're getting such a wake-up call with regard to the People's Republic of China and the Chinese Communist Party. Just in the last 2 weeks, we've had warnings on this very network that, for example, that the Three Gorges Dam in China has actually shifted the axis of the Earth and could force a catastrophic axis shift. And that, you know, that there are many such things. And subsequent to that, I have watched videos that have shown that great tectonic events, I mean, very, very powerful earthquake events, are now happening because of the Three Gorges Dam, and that this is actually tectonic warfare by the People's Republic of China against the rest of the world. How do you feel about that?
So if you look at this book, when I say I find extinction codes, I mean extinction codes from every direction, not just from one event, from the interconnection of everything. So why didn't I emphasize the virus in here? I just put that it's an engineered AI biodisease for mixing humans and animals. I said it a couple of times in the book, right? I didn't emphasize too much because that's not what kills everybody. It's the interconnection of all these things, from conflicts, the whole thing is coming together. But I had to really simplify this book, most of it, because people would think it was completely a sci-fi. And for me to really explain it would have taken the 10,000 pages. And even that would have been limited. So that's why I created that movie, AI, the Plan to Invade Humanity. And that has 102,000 views. It should have 102 billion views. It should have been watched by 7 billion people already 5 or 10 times. And I'm not the person that can do all these things. Yeah. Okay, all I can do is present information and change the tide so that, like I said, the creator has another plan and for the universe to work itself out. Because, like I said, in that video, I put that every human being on the planet today is very special. This includes the bad people. This includes even the people in this lawsuit. Okay, every person in a lawsuit, people might hate them, right, and maybe pointing at them. Well, then why didn't you help me the past 5-6 months? Why did you steal from me? What, aren't you the same as them? Why did you plagiarize? Aren't you the same as them? Why don't you report media? Why don't you report? So when human beings are put in positions, they get corrupted by this whole system through the device they have. So every human being on this planet, whether they're negative force or positive, they're very, very special. Of course, some of them are beyond salvation because they've done massive rape and murder and human trafficking, and they're going to be weeded out. But in the interim, a lot of innocent people can be weeded out because of their placement, of their choosing. This conversation just takes so long to talk about, but that's why I say very simple: expose the Chinese Communist Party, repent for being complicit in what's happening in China, and have a wish for awakening or enlightenment. If you're just agnostic, if you have a faith, have a wish for salvation, whatever it is, and deep down in your heart, ask for mercy, because these are really simple things. And people who have a scientific brain, and the way the neural networks are formed, it's hard for them to accept these things. So you look at a Christian person or a Judeo-Christian person, and you look at their brain, you scan the brain, you'll see the part where they have faith, let's say a real devout person, that part is completely opened up and it connects. The other part where technology and certain things, a way of speaking the scientist or agnostic would find acceptable, that part is almost completely closed up in neural networks. If you take a scientist or a doctoral person or somebody who's gone up with this PhD system, they have an area in their brain that's open up. They're very classy, they're sophisticated, they talk in a certain way, and they can analyze things. They're very logical and rational. But the area that has faith and that lets them see amazing things cannot be opened up. It's completely blocked because they're using that scientific area. So they have to go in an empirical way of using machines through a structure of 30, 40, or a few generations, then see, oh, okay, and virtual reality comes in, augmented reality and mixed reality, and then they discover worlds and planets and universes. Oh, then there's the creator. You know, it's such a long process for them. And in a sense, it's kind of sophisticated too, right? But the whole point is, because this AI system, when they take this route of empirical science and they lose their morality and their ethics, they don't succeed. They get eliminated from history. And it's happened many times throughout our civilizations. Now, the person who has a religion, if they have that little part open, but they don't expand and they don't get to the next levels, they also don't make it. So again, this I'm talking about in a conceptual way, because this is a show and you're interviewing me, and we're speaking in a conceptual way. If that's acceptable, and those people who are listening in and are agreement, if you think it's fact, you can take it as fact. If you just think it as philosophy, and you can take it as philosophy. But my main point is we're at a really dangerous time in our world, and everybody needs to be calm, rational, compassionate to everybody, and stop fighting with each other, and repent, or a different world, really deep down inside in your heart, apologize. Why were you complicit in all these camps, all this, and do business with China? And even, you know, a lot of the goods you have that are made in China, they're made by a slave or someone who got killed for the organs. Or they're even, the leather that you have, it's dog leather. It's passed off as cow, but it's not. It's dog leather. It's skinned alive. So that's the Chinese Communist Party. And they train their people to be like that, because communism does that to people. It disconnects the concept of morality and faith. And then science comes in, they become like Dr. Frankenstein, everybody. So and that's what happened with this virus and other things that I put in the book that will happen. They're mixing humans and animals and different things. And then the world can become a really dangerous position. So 2 is that. 3 is to have a wish. Very, very simple. A wish to be awakened, to be enlightened, to have a good future and better the world and make it to the next stage. Because the next stage, as I put in that video, AI, the plan to invade humanity, is glorious and beautiful. And again, I'm just one person and I need support, not just monetarily, donate please, but I read that book, but I need help on social media. I really need retweets. I need, I'm on IG as well. I need more interviews. I love to come back on your show again, because everything I'm saying, it resonates with you. Maybe you can respond, but I think we're on the same frequency.
Yes. I very much. Now we're just at the segment where I think we're closing, and we're at the hour and something mark, and our viewers and listeners now who really resonate with you and want to support you, should they go to your website? Is that the best way?
Yes, go to the AIorganization.com. If you want to contribute, you can contribute there. It's very much needed. Download the book from there as well, Artificial Intelligence, Danger to Humanity. The video AI, the plan to invade humanity, is on YouTube, but it's also on our channel. It connects to YouTube. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter. It's Cyrus A Parsa 1. Again, some of the things I said may have insulted some people, because I didn't. It takes so long to explain, and you'll say, "Oh, I think I get what he's saying." So if I offend anybody, it's not my intention. I try 18, 20 hours a day, 7 days a week to try to save those people by assisting and bring this information out there. And I didn't succeed because the world people either slandered or stabbed me or sabotaged me or just didn't care.
Look, I think that you're doing an extraordinary job, and I think that you need to go 100% on your path, and that more people need to, because the clear and present danger, to use that phrase, is the AI. And they have the People's Republic of China and the Chinese Communist Party entrained. AI is now entraining the Communist Party. I mean, that's the way that I see it.
You know, our governments, our military leaders, our intelligence agencies, they grew up with this AI system.
Yeah.
As kids, you know, I played Atari, I played Nintendo, and then Super Nintendo and Sega, and so they also got training and program with this. So for them to accept these things that are beyond the level of artificial narrow intelligence, it's so difficult. So that's why they'll delve into DARPA and these they'll make anything, because they have to counteract China, and I agree with that. But there's so many threats. It's just so. But the end, God, our Creator, wins. But in the interim, a lot of people can lose their lives, and families and everywhere, and just even the very people in our intelligence community. You know, every person's special. They're special too. You know.
Yeah.
And
And there's also good evidence that the planet itself is moving up in frequency, and that consciousness is expanding, and that will move out into, as you say, the future is glorious. I really want to take this occasion to honor your work, to honor your creations. I think that the film AI, the plan to invade humanity, we'll put that link in the description to this video and in the article that accompanies this. Your book, AI, the dangers to
artificial intelligence, dangers to humanity. Yes.
Yeah, and the lawsuit, you know, which I believe that you're stating principles of natural and common law there, as well as the as well as the international laws, the genocide convention. There are a few more laws that you can even bring in there.
I put into Nuremberg and so many.
No, sure. And this is, you know, you have many admirers worldwide. I must tell you that in the circles in which we travel, you are greatly admired.
I don't know that, because I only have 20,000 followers on Twitter and I get shadow banned.
Only 20,000. Wait. No, hold on. Only 20,000. You see, the thing is this, is that Twitter, all of those things are just AI measures.
I know.
And spirit is so much greater than whatever measures AI come. You're greatly admired. You are a spiritual beacon to many people, and we look forward to the day that to a time that you can return and as events develop, and so thank you very much for your work, and we're going to spread this wide, because I think people should be listening to this. We actually interviewed this entity that claimed to be an artificial intelligence. It was a disembodied entity. I'm just going to say that was it. And it claimed that the COVID-19, or what it was actually an AI nanobot. It was not.
That's what I put in the book, that that they use artificial intelligence to mix humans and animals in order to create it. So that was published in late August and in October. And I've said it in other interviews as well. So I don't know when you had that person on, but I've been saying it's an AI engineered. I put that in Carrie Cassidy's show. I think I released it as well. But I think she failed to understand certain things when I was Shane cut me off a lot, and that has some trouble with the message. But there's certain things I can't say. I'm not gonna reveal, like things that would jeopardize national security or different things because The U.S. has to win against China's communist government. World needs to win. They will win. At the end, they will win. It's just the
Yeah.
interest. So anyway, thank you, Mr. Alfred, and
Sure.
thank the audience. And again, I apologize if they didn't say the right thing sometimes. My goal from the foundation is altruistic, although I'm a human being and I have my emotions sometimes. So thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you.